So after you do a photo shoot, you have to make some decisions. What pictures do you want to keep and what do you want to delete? Now, before we had digital cameras, we used film cameras, and we were limited by how many pictures we could take based on how many exposures were in the camera from the film. Well, now when I'm shooting digitally, I'm unlimited to the size of the memory card in the camera, or how much space I have on my phone if I'm using my phone for pictures. So we have to decide which ones we're going to keep. What we do is we create something called a contact sheet. A contact sheet is a picture of your pictures. How do we use it? We look for three things in the contact sheet. The first thing that we're going to look for is clarity. Is the focus of the image sharp where you want it to be sharp? Because if it's not, you can't fix that later. So you got to get rid of that picture. Don't keep it. The second thing you want to look for is contrast. Now, contrast occurs in a couple different ways. One way that we could describe it is light versus dark. Like, see my dark hair against this green screen? There's contrast there. I pop out, right? My purple shirt is popping out against that green screen. But if I was wearing a green shirt and had green hair, all we'd see would be my face, and I don't know how good that would be, right? So you have to decide about the contrast in the image. Maybe it's in texture, smooth versus rough, and that creates contrast. But either way, is there contrast or is the image flat? If it doesn't have contrast, get rid of it. The third thing we're going to look for is composition. How well did you organize all the objects in the picture? So your focal point, let's start with that. Do you have one? Did you want to have one? Where did you place that focal point? The second thing you want to think about within composition is going to be the figure-ground relationships. You know, the space down in front of your focal point or what's behind it. Do you like the way that space is arranged? And then within that composition, the third thing within composition is going to be those principles of design. You know, do you have objects that repeat? Do you have some of the objects that maybe run off the page? Do you have objects that overlap one on top of the other? How about variety in size? Is everything the same size, or did you create some variety there? And finally, did you fill the space? These are things that you want to think about when you decide if the image has a good composition. Now, if it doesn't have those things, throw the picture out. Don't keep images that aren't worth keeping. They're sucking up your memory, and you get annoyed later when you want to take a picture and it says memory full, not a fun message. Sometimes what I do, though, is I keep those images for later. I pull them off the device, but I have another device for images that I may want to play with later. Not a bad idea, because not everything that doesn't come out perfect is to be thrown out. Sometimes things that aren't perfect are worth saving. But just make sure they don't get in your way. So good luck working with your contact sheets. I know that we're going to figure out what the best pictures are for us to print.